This is a different complaint that is currently being looked through and will be investigated thoroughly by the Office of the General Counsel.
2 days ago, Vice President of the school board, Aonte Anderson, said he got an email with this video. He says a former McAuliffe staff member told him this room was used to lock students of color inside as a way of incarcerating them. This was under the leadership of former principal Kurt Dennis.
That's not a de-escalation room. That was a prison that I saw yesterday at McAuliffe International School.
Anderson visited this room along with board member Scott Esserman and took these photos.
Seclusion. Example, leaving a child alone and preventing egress is against board policy.
And now all of a sudden, oh, this is Kurt Dennis has an incarceration room. No. Over the last year, 2 students at McAuliffe were put into a de-escalation room, and that was an approved plan from their individual educational plans.
David Lane, Kurt Dennis's lawyer, says Dennis has left the students alone in this room if they hit, scratched, or spit on him. He said Dennis would stay outside until they were calm enough for the psychologist to go in.
What was happening is these students would get put into a de-escalation room because they were acting violently in class. They would then want to leave, so they'd open the door. And there's an administrator outside who would then shut the door, and the student would open it and shut, and there was a tug-of-war.
That's why Lane says a latch was put on the outside of the door, the one seen here in the video. But Lane said the latch was used once and then never again because the psychologist worried they would be stuck inside with the student.
These are violent students, regardless of their race.
But DPS board members say it's all about race and systemic oppression.
The whistleblower says clearly this is students of color who were placed into this environment.
The district does have best practices when it comes to a de-escalation room, and they said McAuliffe's inadequate construction of the space may have presented an unsafe de-escalation environment. Now, the board has not shared how often this room was used and which students were put in there. Anderson said he will now vote to terminate Kurt Dennis after learning of this room. David Lane plans on filing a lawsuit against Superintendent Alex Marrero and any board members who vote in favor of officially terminating Dennis.